It usually starts quietly. You meet someone who seems unusually kind. They listen carefully. They tell you that you're special, that you've been chosen for something meaningful. They invite you to meetings where everyone smiles a little too much and agrees a little too quickly. At first, it feels like belonging. But what actually happens when you join a cult? Let's walk through it, step by step. Level 1. Recruitment. The first phase isn't control, it's attraction. Cult groups almost never introduce themselves as cults. No one shows up at your door saying, "Hi, would you like to join a manipulative organization that will eventually control your life?" That doesn't work. Instead, they present themselves as something positive, a community, a spiritual awakening, a movement that promises purpose and belonging in a confusing world. They tell you they have answers to the questions everyone quietly struggles with. Why am I here? What's my purpose? Why does life feel empty sometimes? And suddenly, it feels like someone finally understands. This is where something psychologists call love bombing begins. New members are flooded with attention. People remember your name immediately. They listen carefully to everything you say. They compliment you. They tell you how special you are, how strong your energy is, how lucky the group is to have you. For a while, you feel incredible. Because your brain absolutely loves this. Every compliment triggers dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Social approval lights up the same neural circuits that respond to food, safety, and comfort. Your brain starts associating this group with emotional security, and that feeling is powerful. Slowly, the group begins to feel less like strangers and more like family. Meetings become something you look forward to. Conversations feel deeper than the ones you have outside the group. Without realizing it, you're starting to rely on them emotionally. And there's a reason this works so well. Humans have been tribal since the prehistoric era, when survival depended entirely on your group. Back then, being accepted by your tribe meant protection. Being rejected meant something much worse. Leaving the group could mean starvation if you couldn't hunt alone. It could mean being hunted by predators while sleeping. Even a small injury could turn deadly from infection, because antibiotics wouldn't exist for tens of thousands of years. Back then, survival meant staying with your people. And even though modern life looks different, your brain still carries that ancient wiring. So when a group starts treating you like family, supporting you, praising you, welcoming you, your instincts respond exactly the way they were designed to. They tell you to stay, because deep in your brain, belonging still feels like survival. Level 2. Isolation. Once you're emotionally attached, the next stage begins. Isolation. But it doesn't happen overnight. If a group immediately told you to cut off your friends and family, you'd probably walk away instantly. Cult leaders know this, so the process is subtle and gradual. At first, it sounds harmless. Someone might say outsiders simply don't understand the truth. Maybe they suggest that negative people could hold you back from your personal growth. Maybe friends who question the group are described as jealous, closed-minded, or spiritually blind. It plants a small seed of doubt. Then the suggestions slowly grow stronger. Family members might be described as obstacles to your real destiny. Old friends might be labeled toxic influences. Criticism from outsiders becomes proof that the group is right and the world is wrong. The more time you spend inside the group, the less time you spend outside it. Meetings become more frequent. Events fill your weekends. Conversations with outsiders feel awkward because they don't get it. Gradually, your social world begins to shrink, and the smaller it becomes, the more powerful the group's influence grows. This tactic works because throughout history, isolation has always been dangerous for humans. In ancient Mesopotamia, civilization provided protection that individuals simply couldn't survive without. Cities offered organized food systems, security, and shared resources. Living outside that structure meant exposure to contaminated water, which could spread deadly diseases like dysentery. It meant vulnerability during organized warfare, where invading armies could enslave or kill anyone without protection. It meant a constant risk of being captured and forced into slavery. Society offered safety. Outside of it, survival was uncertain. Cult leaders understand a similar psychological truth. If members lose their outside relationships, friends, family, co-workers, the idea of leaving becomes terrifying. Because where would you go? Who would support you? Who would believe you? Slowly, almost quietly, the group becomes your main source of validation, friendship, and emotional support. And once that happens, something subtle but powerful shifts. The group no longer feels like a part of your life. It starts to feel like your entire world, and leaving it suddenly feels like stepping into the unknown. Level 3. Dependency. Now the rules appear. At first they seem small. Attend meetings regularly, read specific materials, donate time or money, follow guidance from leadership. But over time, the rules expand. Leaders start controlling daily decisions, relationships, careers, even what you eat or wear. This creates dependency. History shows how powerful systems of dependency can be. In ancient Egypt, massive projects required strict obedience. Workers faced construction accidents, heat stroke, and diseases caused by parasites in the Nile. The system only worked because individuals relied entirely on the structure around them. Cults recreate a similar dynamic, except the authority isn't a pharaoh, it's a charismatic leader. Level 4. Obedience. By now, questioning becomes dangerous. Members are encouraged to obey without doubt. Psychologically, this taps into a powerful human pattern. In ancient Greece, soldiers fought in hoplite combat, standing shield to shield in tight formations. Individual hesitation could collapse the entire line. So obedience wasn't optional. It was survival. Cults use a similar idea. If one person questions leadership, the entire belief system might crack. So dissent is discouraged, sometimes subtly, sometimes aggressively. Level 5. Control through fear. Once obedience is established, fear enters the system. Members are warned that leaving the group could bring disaster, spiritual punishment, social rejection, personal ruin. Historically, societies have used fear in similar ways. In the Roman Empire, power was reinforced through public spectacles like the Colosseum, where punishment and violence were displayed to massive crowds. Fear keeps people compliant. Cults use psychological versions of the same tactic. Instead of lions and gladiators, the threats are emotional, spiritual, or social. But the effect is the same: obedience through intimidation. Level 6. Total immersion. At this point, the cult isn't just part of your life. It is your life. Your schedule revolves around it. Your friendships exist inside it. Your beliefs depend on it. This level of immersion resembles societies during the Dark Ages, when infrastructure collapse and constant conflict left communities dependent on local rulers or warlords. Outside, the system felt chaotic and dangerous. Inside, the system felt safer, even if it wasn't. Cults create that same perception. The outside world is painted as corrupt, hostile, or doomed. Only the group offers protection. Level 7. Escalation. Some groups escalate further. Demands increase. Members might be asked to donate everything they own, cut off families, or recruit others aggressively. Sometimes the ideology becomes extreme. History is full of moments where belief systems escalated into violence. During the Viking Age, raiding wasn't just economic, it was cultural identity. Young warriors risked drowning, battle wounds, or hypothermia in brutal northern seas. The belief system justified the danger. Cults sometimes push members into equally extreme actions: financial sacrifice, legal risk, or confrontation with outsiders, because by now, members believe the cause is bigger than themselves. Level 8. Psychological entrapment. Eventually, something dangerous happens. Complicity. Members who were once victims begin helping enforce the system, recruiting new followers, defending the leader, silencing doubts. This mirrors historical systems like feudalism in medieval Europe, where peasants worked under lords despite harsh conditions like malnutrition and relentless labor. People maintained the system because they believed it was the only system that existed. Cults rely on the same psychological trap. The deeper you invest, the harder it becomes to admit something is wrong. Level 9. Collapse. Not every cult lasts forever. Many eventually fall apart. Scandals emerge. Leaders lose control. Authorities intervene. Sometimes the collapse is sudden, like the devastation of the Black Death in 14th century Europe, when bubonic plague wiped out massive portions of the population and shattered existing systems. When cults collapse, members often face the same shock. Their identity, social world, and belief structure disappear almost overnight, and rebuilding life afterward can take years. Level 10. Recovery. The good news is that recovery is possible. Modern psychology understands cult dynamics far better than previous generations. In earlier centuries, societies struggled with diseases like syphilis, tuberculosis, and smallpox without effective treatment. Today, we live in a world shaped by medical advancement, antibiotics, and scientific understanding. Similarly, research into manipulation and group control has improved dramatically. Therapists now help former members rebuild identity, relationships, and critical thinking skills. Leaving a cult can feel like stepping out of a fog, but eventually, clarity returns. And here's the strange part. Across thousands of years, from the prehistoric era to the modern day, humans have always searched for the same thing: belonging. Our ancestors needed tribes to survive starvation, predators, and deadly infection long before antibiotics or modern medical advancement existed. That instinct to trust a group, to follow a leader, to stay loyal to the tribe, is still hardwired into our brains. Cults don't create that instinct. They simply exploit it. And once you understand how that system works, recruitment, isolation, dependency, obedience, it becomes much harder for anyone to trap you inside it. Because awareness breaks the spell. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more content like this, breaking down strange, fascinating, and sometimes dark parts of human history and psychology, do us a quick favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. It really helps the channel grow and lets us keep making videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.